What is going on, everyone? We should be talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys, the X's and the O's, what the Birds need to do to get the W in Dallas. But no, there is drama surrounding this football team once again. There is some garbage involved in that locker room, and it's annoying to me. It pisses me off because we saw Josina Anderson's tweet about there being a player unhappy about not getting Jalen Ramsey. And I thought to myself, okay, that's not really a big deal. So what? There are plenty of people upset about not getting Jalen Ramsey, and who knows when she spoke to this person. Was it 3 minutes after? Was it 5 minutes after? Was it 2 days after? I mean, there's context involved that needs to be discussed when you see and hear a player pissed off. This Carson Wentz crap, though, it's disturbing and it actually makes no sense. Now, before we dive into this, make sure you use the promo code BRODES for $20 off of your SeatGeek's total purchase, okay? It's free money. Make sure you use it. But let's dive into this a little more. And it bothers me that this is supposed to be a Football Friday episode. Let's talk Eagles, Cowboys. Come on, best rivalry there is for this Eagles squad. And this should be entertaining and talking trash and discussing what needs to go down. But no, instead we're talking about little drama, unnamed sources talking crap to the media behind his teammates' back. Like, what is this? And it's now the second year in a row. And don't tell me that where there's smoke, there's fire, as if this is Carson Wentz's fault. If you look at this offense, Carson Wentz is the last person to blame. You can blame Doug Peterson, Mike Rowe, the receivers. Carson Wentz is the problem? Now here's the quote. We need to make bleep simpler. Sometimes we need to just handle what is manageable. Even Peyton Manning knew how to check it down. The problem with this offense is not checking it down. We're not spreading the field whatsoever. We have no deep threat. We're not throwing the ball far. We have to check down more? That doesn't make sense. The only thing that I can think of is maybe he's talking about checking out. Because does Carson Wentz need to check out of certain plays once in a while? Maybe a little bit better? Yeah, I would say so. Specifically, there was that play where Alshon got the wide receiver screen. It got blown up instantly, and at that point, I think Carson Wentz needed to realize that the Vikings defense read it like a book and knew it was going to happen instantly. Does he need to check out of that play? Yes. But the quote was, even Peyton Manning knew how to check it down. Our problem is not checking it down. And you can't be mad at the journalist for having an unnamed source because that's part of the business. That's how they keep their sources. You can't blame Josina Anderson for not naming this source. You have to look at the player and say, what the hell is your issue right now? Why can't you talk out your beef with Carson Wentz, with Doug Peterson? Why can't you go into the office and say, hey, why don't we do this? I have a little bit of a problem with this. Because obviously this unnamed source, and she says Eagles source, so it doesn't mean Eagles player. It doesn't mean Eagles player. It says Eagles source, so it could be anyone involved with the Eagles. So that raises my eyebrows when I see that title instead of Eagles player, because that is completely different. But if I'm having an issue, why don't we discuss this? What does telling Josina Anderson, what does that do? What does that do? Does that fix the problem? No, it doesn't fix the problem whatsoever. You have to talk this out with your teammates, with your coaching staff. No? I mean, to me, you're telling someone that can't change the issue. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. Everyone knows that she has ties with Alshon. It doesn't... I mean, I can't sit here and tell you who it is because obviously none of us know. But does it make sense for it to be Alshon? Does he have an issue with the way Carson Wentz doesn't check it down? See, I look at this offense and I say, is Carson Wentz the problem right now? Absolutely not. Our receivers can't get open. We have no flow to our offense. Zach Ertz is talking about how he's being double-teamed all the time, which is what the defense should do. Take away your best player and force the other team to throw elsewhere. So Zach Ertz is getting double-teamed, but what does that mean? That means there should be other players available, and those players aren't stepping up. Could this be Nelson Aguilar because he's not getting the ball enough? No, it shouldn't be. The guy can't catch the football. And you take a look at numbers and statistics and you use your eyeballs. How many balls have Carson Wentz thrown where they were dropped by the receiver? I can't comprehend how Carson Wentz is getting criticized to this degree. Does Doug Peterson have this locker room the way we thought? I'll counter that by saying this. We saw it with Zach Brown. Sometimes you have a group of people, say 60. I'm just spitballing numbers. 60 people, right? And 59 of them are on the same page. 58 of them are on the same page. Well, if that's the case in this locker room, I know that's not the numbers totally, but I'm just saying, if that's the numbers in the locker room, well, yeah, I would say Doug Peterson has the culture correct. Because you can't make everyone think the same way. That's just not humanly possible. So if there's one or two outliers, okay. I mean, that still means the bulk of the locker room is on the same page. But when you have receivers or other players talking to the media here, sneaking around, and now there's all this chitter-chat, drama, gossip going on, maybe it's not as close as we thought it was. It has to be an offensive player. It has to be. Why would a defense freak out about Carson Wentz checking it down? Could it be an offensive lineman? Because the way that they're holding the blocks for these long passes? But that doesn't make sense either. It comes down to it doesn't make sense. And if I'm Alshon Jeffrey and it's not me, I got to make it clear. Because let's be real, all of us are claiming that it's probably Alshon Jeffrey because Josina Anderson and Alshon are literally this close. All of her reports with the Eagles seem to be about Alshon Jeffrey. They are super close. So if I am Alshon Jeffrey, I'm making sure that people understand it wasn't me. I'm not complaining. It's just hard for me to process that there are people inside that locker room claiming that this is a Carson Wentz issue, that this offense isn't rolling. I mean, use your eyeballs. And if you're a numbers guy, use the numbers. He has dropped passes that aren't helping him. He's doing a good enough job. Not like he's doing a good job. Look in the mirror if you're a wide receiver saying these words. It can't be a Mac Hollins, right? A J.J. Arthego-Whiteside. It can't be those type of people. Doesn't make sense. That's the reason why they're having an unnamed source behind them. It's a veteran guy who probably has a bigger name in this locker room. That's why it's an unnamed source. But that's a bitch move. If you have a problem, direct it towards the people who can help change this issue. And let's move the hell on. Is it ironic that this is coming out during Dallas week? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe there's a reason behind it. The news drops on a Thursday night, the weekend of. The weekend heading into Dallas week? I don't know. Let's get into this Dallas game because we haven't even done that yet. And that's what this is supposed to be on a Friday, a preview video. I have no feel on this game. I have no clue. I can't sense anything. Both teams are banged up. Both teams have underachieved. The Dallas Cowboys are on a 3-game losing streak, but they're returning home. They might not have Amari Cooper. Their offensive line is banged up with Smith and Collins. Their defense hasn't played up to par. And then you look at the Eagles, they get abused by the Hall of Famer Kirk Cousins. Oh, what's that? He's not a Hall of Famer? That's right, we just make him look that way. We don't get a pass rush. We got it on the Jets. We didn't get it on a Vikings line that isn't that great. If the Cowboys don't have their tackles, we should be able to get some sort of pressure, right? Fletch, Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, you would hope so. Maybe Hassan Ridgeway sneaks in there, but I can't put my money on it. I've seen it enough throughout these games, besides the Jets game, that they can't get much pressure. So why would I expect them to? We need to. That needs to be in the recipe for success, but we haven't. I have no clue how this game is going to go. Are we going to stop the run like we did with Dalvin Cook and force Dak to throw? Well, that didn't really work last time against the Vikings. But you have Jalen Mills practicing, Ronald Darby on the practice field. Is that going to change much? How is that going to change? It can't be much worse, right? I mean, think about it. Can it be much worse than what Sidney Jones and Rasul Douglas did last week? I hope not. If not, we're coming out of Dallas with an L. It's hard for me to predict what exactly is going to happen. If we stop Zeke, which we clearly can't let Zeke run on us all game long, it comes down to putting the ball in Dak's hand and forcing him to beat us. If there's no Amari Cooper, because I know he's trying to battle it out and play, it helps. It helps the Eagles. And even if he does play, he's clearly hurting a lot. I don't think this is just something minor. Like, this is definitely hurting him. So he wouldn't be 100%. So I don't know if he's going to be able to get 200-plus yards on us. But it's there for the Eagles. Due to the fact the Cowboys are a little banged up, and I know we are too, it's there for the Eagles. There's a possibility, and there's a door opened for the Eagles to go in there and take it. We've struggled on the road to score points in the first quarter. We can't play down. We have to find a way to get on the board early. Maybe let's not defer, Doug. Doug needs to come up with a game plan. We've seen the Dallas defense give up some run plays, so it is possible maybe we give Jordan Howard the ball and see if we can establish the run a little bit, see if we can run the ball down their throat. Maybe we can find ways to attack that linebacker crew, because they've been criticized a little bit so far this season through this 3-game losing skid. Definitely. It comes down to Doug putting up a good game plan, but now there's this hostility involved. If I'm Carson Wentz, I'm disgusted, I'm pissed off, yet I got to put it behind me and go out there and play. But think about being Carson Wentz, 2 years in a row now. He got criticized for not being a great leader. He worked on it all offseason long, bringing everyone together, hanging out with them off the field, kind of opening up a little bit more. Worked on it tremendously. And now the offense runs dry a little bit, and Carson Wentz needs to check down a little more. I just can't comprehend this. It doesn't make logical sense. Where's the logic? He needs to check it down more? How is that the problem? Unless the quote is taken out of context, then what they meant was he needs to check out of plays more. That's the only thing that makes a little bit of sense. And yes, that might be right, but is that the difference in this offense going or not? Absolutely not. I'd rather blame, and not really blame, but if there's a problem with this offense, I'd rather put my eyes on Doug and Mike Rowe for the lack of creativity and the play calling, the wide receivers, and then Carson Wentz. I feel like that's fair. So if this is a receiver talking smack, look in the damn mirror. Oh, and by the way, we have Andre Dillard getting the start at left tackle. So we do know that he's going to go up against some talent on the other end. His job is going to be tough. He has to keep Carson Wentz upright. Carson Wentz is going to need time in the pocket. I saw some good things out of Andre Dillard in the Vikings game. I saw some bad things out of Andre Dillard in the Vikings game. Keep in mind, he is a rookie getting thrown into the fire. There's going to be a learning curve, especially at that position. He's going to go up against moves that he hasn't seen in the Pac-12. Jason Peters clearly is going to do his job and try and teach this kid all week long to prepare him for what he's about to see, and film will help as well. But he's getting thrown into the fire. He's going to have to experience some stuff. At the same time, he has to do everything he possibly can to make sure that Carson stays upright. It is a tough task to ask him to do, but this is why we drafted the kid. We knew Jason Peters was not going to be available all season long. He's older. He gets banged up. He will not play all 16 games. This is why we went out and drafted Andre Dillard in the first round. So here you go, kid. You have your shot. Here's your chance. Here's your opportunity. And oh, by the way, it's in Dallas with one of our biggest rivals we have. So I have faith in the kid. I've seen things I liked. I saw some growing pains as well last week, but I saw some things I like. Let's see if he can put it together and succeed, because we're going to need him here. It's one thing after the next. One thing after the next. Unbelievable. Well, we have a big game. We got to put this behind us. We got to find a way to focus on the game itself. If I'm Doug Peterson, I'm making sure that this gets settled. This isn't something you sweep under the rug. A player upset that we didn't get Jalen Ramsey? Maybe. Maybe you sweep that one under the rug? Maybe. Because there were plenty of people a little disappointed that we didn't land the best cornerback in the game. This is different, though. This is criticizing your guy. This is criticizing your franchise quarterback for something that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. I'm starting to look at Carson Wentz at times and say, he does need to be better. He's definitely worthy of being criticized. And I'm starting to criticize him more for certain things that he does or doesn't do. This quote here blows my mind. It just can't be understood in this noggin of mine. There's way too many issues to look at Carson Wentz and say, you're the issue right now. You are the problem. It's a joke. It's literally a joke. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.